Welcome to the DJ Spider podcast presented by Beat Source. That's right, baby. We are back. It's been a hot minute. Back in the studio. Got a special guest sitting right across from me right here.
Facts.
Okay. This person I've known for, I want to say, almost 20 years.
Haha, facts, baby.
Facts, baby. We out here. Almost 20 years I've known this person in the DJ game. We've been through a lot. And when I say a lot, we're going to discuss it on this podcast because the DJ game has changed a lot in 20 years. I met some kid this weekend when I was DJing, and I started telling him a story, and he was like, I was 3 years old when you're talking about that. So I'm like, wow, I'm old. This guy was 23. He looked like he was maybe 40, though, so I don't know what people are eating nowadays. But he was this guy across from me is one of the first people, along with me and a few other amazing DJs, to be on DJ AM's legendary DJ management company back in the day called Deckstar. So that says a lot about the things we've been through. Since then, he's done everything from DJing Vegas clubs to the do-over parties to everything in between. This man is well-rounded. He can cut, he can scratch, he can read the crowd, he can do it all. He's originally from San Francisco, but he's been living in LA now for such a long time. You could almost consider him an LA native.
Haha, facts.
That's right, baby. He's immersed himself in many styles of music over the years, from hip-hop to rare grooves to disco to dance music to rock and much more. He's got an impeccable ear, just one of them. His technical skill has earned him international acclaim and respect from many reputable figures in the DJ world, and that's a fact. He also teaches DJ. You know, he's given back to the community. He has a group called Pools with another legendary guy and podcast guest, the Mike B. He just hit 10,000 followers on his Twitch channel, so obviously a lot of people like watching him worldwide. He's got a crazy vinyl collection and so much more you'll hear on this podcast. Welcome to the show, DJ Morse Code.
Hey, thank you, baby. All facts, all true facts. Shout out to all the morsers out there practicing morsery, you feel me?
And look at that. He's popped on his sunglasses for everybody that's watching on YouTube, and he's become a whole new person. He's shouting out the morcerers. And the crazy thing is that the people listening to this podcast are beat sorcerers. So we're doing the beat sorcerer morcerer collab right now, baby.
You already know.
But look, the glasses have come off. The real Morse code has entered the room.
What's up, everybody?
Before, he was speaking from a player standpoint. He's straight from the pork, doing it hard. But now he's out here. He's doing it big. And we're connecting, right? What up?
Absolutely. Great to see you, my man.
You too. And we did a podcast back in the day, in the day called the COVID days.
Yes.
Where we did an online podcast. It was probably the 40th episode, if I remember correctly. It was the beginning of Twitch. It was mid-COVID. It was pandemic time. So we definitely talked about a lot of raiding people, which I know you still do, but we were deep in the raid game at that point, and pandemic and COVID and mental health and just being like, what will our life become? You know, right. We were inside of that zone, which now we're back outside. The sky is blue. Yes. And we're seeing what's happening.
Yeah.
So what up? How you been since the pandemic?
Chilling, man. Yeah, I've been good. It's felt really great to be, back outside, like you said, and getting active and getting after it. And, having kind of taken the lessons learned from that time and just feeling really thankful, just to be getting back to it. And, still staying active on Twitch as well, so now it's just kind of a balance of all these different things going on.
Right. Like I said, you have 10,000 followers on Twitch, which is pretty massive. You know what I mean? To reach that point, your partner status, you're one of the people that are still doing it, I think. And you also kind of found your own groove and your own lane within that world, because at the time, I think vinyl DJing wasn't hadn't become what it is again today. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you've always been a vinyl collector. You've always been someone that's been up on digging for samples, knowing what Dilla used, even though no one could figure it out. You know what I mean? Having the 45 of this thing and all that stuff. And coming from the Bay Area, I know that's a huge thing. And being in LA, and you're just deep in the DJ culture. But I feel like you were one of the first people to bring that to your Twitch channel.
Yes.
Before almost almost anyone. I mean, I'd see you, DJ Epic, I mean, a few people, DJ Bill in Brazil. It was literally a worldwide community of a small number of people that were doing that.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to see because it really was the true juxtaposition of analog and digital because like everyone is using this digital platform and Twitch and but you're using analog and also it just sounded dope. Like a lot of us are listening to you in the middle of the night, like on our headphones and we could hear the crackle on the record and they would skip and you would be able to, like scratch past it and you guys like, you'd put up the artwork and be able to talk about it. So
exactly.
I think that's super dope. And I love how you've continued on with it. And it'd be cool to hear like, I don't know, your journey from that time to now and like what it's like and what the audiences are like on Twitch and your approach to it nowadays and all that stuff.
For sure. Well, first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate the kind words.
Yes.
It's like the way I think of it is like during the pandemic, a lot of people had these like new hobbies or just like dedicated themselves to particular things like learning how to bake bread or whatever,
sourdough, big time.
When the Twitch thing started getting going, at first I was just playing like Serato sets and stuff, just like normal. And then, I had been playing some vinyl sets in the years kind of leading up to the pandemic, but, once or twice a month kind of thing. But I saw that time as a great opportunity to kind of just like go back into my entire record collection, take stock of like everything that I have, figure out stuff that I could trade or get rid of and start going after stuff that I was looking to acquire. And so it was like a big like bolstering of my record collection.
Totally.
Just like taking it like it was like record collection 2.0 time. You know what I mean? And it was just like it was such a great communal time too, just getting influenced and by people like DJ Epic and Bus Crates and like seeing the records they're playing and then like they're in my chat while I'm streaming, like bugging out on stuff I'm playing. And so it was like the kind of knowledge that you acquire in a natural way, like leading up to that time is like sort of just a little bit at a time, like a piecemeal kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then that time was just like boom, like just like taking that, like learning about records and things like that and connecting the dots, but like on steroids,
Right.
So I just went in and just digging through all my stuff and then like looking for certain things and really just, like I said, just bolstered my collection. So that definitely made it so that, now, especially with all this like vinyl stuff that's going on, it was cool because it kind of just naturally put me in a position to be able to like get really active with all that stuff and be like, oh man, I have all these great, things to share with people that I'm excited to share with people. And so it was just kind of a win-win in a way in terms of just like, digging through my own stuff. And then not to mention, being able to play vinyl sets from home, you don't have to lug around the crates, it's like you could just play for hours and hold on, you guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to go in the next room and grab another crate. You know what I mean? So, I look at it as that time as very like wisely spent, That's something I feel really good about. Like, wow, I did that, I really maximized that time in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that kind of thing of why we started DJing. Like, I don't think a lot of people, at least from our days, thought about money even 1% when we were starting to DJ. There was not even a thought of money or making money or doing a thing. And in a way, that's what you're doing there too. Like, you're just doing something that you love. And then it can lead towards, oh shit, I can make money on this on the internet. Oh shit, I'm going to start getting booked to go to Las Vegas to DJ vinyl. Would I have ever thought that? You know what I mean? Like, yes, you have to bring the records, which is kind of annoying. But besides that, like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, and I just saw you just did a run out in Vegas for like 4 days. And you're playing everything from on the record where I don't know if you're using vinyl there or not, but like you're still getting to play in like that dope bus area where everyone's loving music to have that culture in Vegas.
With like the throwback vibe.
Yeah. And like shout to Mac Agency, Eddie Mac,
for sure.
Shecky, everybody out there. And like those people pushing the culture forward and then being able to run these venues like the Wax Rabbit and these like dope spots that are opening up and having that. And it's crazy to see because I mean, I've even gone, when you go see vinyl DJs now, there's almost like different groups of the types of vinyl DJs, right? It's like there's the vinyl DJs that are the newer, like curator vinyl DJs, you know what I mean? Where they're like, I'm dropping the needle on this Fleetwood jam, you know what I mean? But like,
and they don't blend as much.
They don't come from a world where we had to have the Little John and Beyonce record along with the Dilla record and the Fleetwood record and the sample of the record and the like, you know,
right.
And we utilize that shit to make people dance and quick mix like we're doing on Serato. So like, I saw sometimes, you know, the people that run those clubs being like, oh, this person needs to do that and this. And they're used to being able to tell a digital DJ what to do and have the digital DJ be able to switch on a dime and go, okay, cool, let me change the genre and flip it up. When the vinyl DJ is like, yo, bro, I brought 42 records and this is all. And I don't think some of them don't know how to manipulate vinyl the same way that you and some other DJs have that light touch, can quick mix, do doubles, and know how to still make people dance while DJing vinyl, which I think is nowadays like, oh, you go to a vinyl club, but it's like those Japanese listening bars where they put the needle down, and that's dope too. But it is there's a big wide gap between different types of vinyl DJs. I guess,
for sure. Yeah, definitely like different like categories of people.
Yeah,
people that are like 45s only and like pushing the 45 stuff really hard, and then the selectors, the more just like you said, the needle droppers. And, you know, I kind of like to just incorporate different elements, I think, of like all that into like my vinyl journey, I guess you could call it.
Yes.
Because it's like I just like being influenced by like all those different kind of things, and you know, just then putting my own spin on it. Haha, pun intended.
Put your spin on it, bro.
Put your spin on it. Wait, should I put these back on? Yeah, baby, just put your spin on it, you know?
Hey.
But yeah, you know, so
anytime you want to talk in that voice, just pop on them Pradas.
Yeah, just the idea of wearing sunglasses the whole time was just too funny.
Listen, we've had some sunglasses guests. I told you, there's no hate on them. You guys
no hate.
Wear them on here, okay? Everyone has their style. Everyone has their
no disrespect, you know,
persona. Maybe I'll do an all sunglass episode. I don't know if I have any in my bag. Let's see,
special edition.
We might. We don't know what'll come out. I might have a new name. Oh, I do. I got them, baby. Okay, when I have something to say, they're coming on. We'll see.
But yeah, going back to what you were saying about how, you know, people will discuss format or like, hey, could you take it in a different direction or something? And then you're just like, I have these records here.
Right.
Or if people come request and you're like, you see these records right here? Like, that's what I got.
They don't understand.
And it was funny because like, even with one of those dates, like the format was being explained to me after I had already like arrived in Vegas. Unfortunately, I had, you know, everything I needed for the gig, but I kind of was saying on the phone, like I was just like, yeah, well, I have the records I brought, you know, and it was like, kind of like, well, yeah, you know, this is like what we like to do over here. And I was like, yep, sounds good. Well, I have the records I brought. And they're like, and no hip hop. I'm like, well, that would be impossible because I didn't bring one hip hop record. And they're like, yeah, you know, because it's like, it's a cool, different kind of thing, but like definitely no hip hop. And I'm like, again, I can't stress this enough. I didn't bring any hip hop.
I cannot press a hip hop record.
Yeah. And they're like, but you know, just do your thing, you know, just make sure no hip hop. I'm like, again.
Which is so funny, the no hip hop thing coming back to. It's like, come on. But yeah, that's well, wait, so in what spots did you do out there? It was Wax Rabbit, Best Friend, On the Record.
Yeah, and Pinky Ring. Yeah.
And honestly, love all those spots. I love just the whole culture of all of it.
You know, it was honestly one of like the best, if not the best, Vegas experience I think I've ever had.
That's so
and I was
cool to
bugging
hear.
out like even that weekend, like as it was happening, like I was thinking to myself, like, man, like I really like what's going on in Vegas right now, and like these little pockets of like cool things that are kind of popping up.
And did you use Serato and vinyl, like at Pinky Ring? Were you all vinyl?
I was Serato for all those except Wax Rabbit.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Which kind of like worked out good because it's like I brought basically, you know, for most of my vinyl gigs, I just bring one big like 12-inch crate and then like a bag of 45s. Mm-hmm. So, and just kind of combine the two throughout the set. Right. So, you know, that's a pretty much kind of like a one gig deal, or unless I'm just going to kind of play the same records again.
Right. Or there's other spots like that or something. I really like all those places, and Pinky Ring, I've had a great time. I love the like
so fun.
The no phone policy makes it pretty damn fun. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It was great.
And it's just a good vibe. Like to have a band, usually a band in between a DJ would ruin a night.
Right.
And for some reason, it works so well there. Right?
Most DJs, if they hear that there's going to be a band, they're like already bummed, or like they're thinking like it's like the kryptonite of like being able to actually rock the party.
Well, 'cause
you know,
it sucks. It kills the energy, but like the way it works there is so good, and like the bands they have there. No, they're like a DJ, and the way that the crowd reacts to both in both ways, and it's like almost like a wedding, but in a really good way. You know what I mean? Not in a cheesy bad wedding way, but like in the sense that you're like, this band is so dope, and this DJ is so dope, and they're playing all kinds of music top to bottom, and we're all just like having the best time in this crazy little room. With no one's worried about the phone and the filming and all the stuff. It's just like such a good vibe.
I think a lot of those things that are happening out there right now, it's like a testament to like timeless music, the power of actually timeless music.
Right.
Because, you know, a lot of times like people, you know, forget about that a little bit, like with all the trends and different things that are popular at different times. And just like timeless music, like will always win.
I know.
And right now feels like a nice moment, you know what I mean? For like the level of appreciation of just good timeless music. And which is also a big part of like, with my whole like vinyl journey, like it's been such a like revelation. That was like the pandemic Twitch like revelation of just like timeless music will always win, you know?
It's so true.
And just like bugging out, like digging through your own record collection and being like, oh, I forgot about this, but like this is just good forever, you know? And there's just nothing about it like that's just like, you know, here today, gone tomorrow. Like it's just like this ain't going anywhere like, ever, you know? I love that.
And it shows with a lot of the DJs that are continuing to grow with like Scratch Bastard, Jazzy Jeff, like continuing to do these different things, but it all stems off the timeless music thing, you know? And they know how to do new trends. You know how to play new stuff. You can do it. You're an amazing DJ, you, them, everybody. But if you stay based within that timeless music thing, it like, and it can keep you happier and like more grounded towards like why you started doing stuff. The whole chasing the trend thing, right?
Oh my gosh, that part. That was the other, and that's the thing that's been cool, like feeling like I kind of came full circle in a way. And not to take anything away from the years where I was like in the, what I call the trenches. You know, when I look back on it now, kind of being thrust into these bigger rooms and being part of like AM's whole thing and Deckstar, like it was the most incredible learning experience. And I think it definitely made me a more well-rounded, like party rockin' DJ. Like move this crowd, move that crowd, you know, like adding those experiences, it definitely like gave me the tools to be able to just be overall more professional DJ. However, you know, what I originally came from in the San Francisco scene was like such a like, you know, leaning into record digging and like getting into obscure things and kind of having that be sort of like the flagship of like what you do. So when I was initially kind of thrust into those other rooms, I kind of had to adapt really quick. And so, you know, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything because it taught me so much and like I had so many amazing experiences. But now it's a really good feeling to feel like I kind of like came full circle, you know what I mean? And now I can really like rep for that style again, you know? In a way that's like a real thing, you know, that like has proven itself to be durable, you know? And the weird full circle in a good way thing also is like how when we came from that time, there were these mashups and edits and things like that, which now everything has been taken to such a new level with that. But in a way, like you mentioned, I was playing these mashups and edits I made for MySpace like 18 years ago, and they felt relevant in Vegas and people were into them. And I've been noticing the same thing. I did gigs this year overseas in Singapore and like Japan, and it seemed like open format was so well received, and that's what they wanted. And in a way it was cool to feel also like we stuck to our guns in the sense of like the hip hop and the digging, but also in a way you stick to your guns in the mashup and that kind of world where people are like, people don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like do mixes with two songs and scratching it in. It's like, oh, I still do it. And now all of a sudden that's back too in certain ways, and that's respected. And that's like, oh, how'd you learn how to do that? It's like, oh, well, I'm still doing it, you know? So it's a weird, there's all these full circle things that are having these 20-year, 15 to 20-year reunion, I don't know, full circle moments. Resurgence.
Resurgence type thing, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So it's crazy to see, you know?
I mean, I kind of like was trying out certain things like, whoa, I haven't played this in a while. And then it was like going over like gangbusters. Like
exactly. I'm like, I put Sean Paul over Yaz like 19 years ago. That's right. And then I'm like, I'll play it again. I'm like, people are like, yo, this is crazy. I'm like, oh, I guess it was crazy 19 years ago and it's back, you know?
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I hadn't even learned how to use Ableton yet. I recorded those. I can't even recall the exact like method, but I'm pretty sure it was like recorded inside of Serato.
Right, that, or I would make them in Cubase, or I'd do a live thing, or I definitely vinyl on vinyl.
Hit record in Serato, do the blend pretty much live.
Right.
And like I would even take notes, like remember to like turn the pitch up by this much. Like,
oh my God. I had mad notes.
And then I would do like, you know, a certain amount of takes until I got the one that I felt like was the one.
I know what you mean.
And then I would just like take that file and that would be it. Like I would just be, and I couldn't even like, at that point, I wasn't even using Ableton to like cut off any dead air.
Right.
So like some of those edits, there's like maybe like a second of silence in the beginning before it starts, you know? It was just like raw.
I know. That's so funny. Yeah. So,
but they sound warm, like, you know, like they sound, and I don't know if it's because maybe some of the vinyl rips I was using with some of the, I don't know, but like they bump, like they sound warm. They like bump, and there's no extra stuff on them. There's no extra like compression or anything. Like it's just, and it bumps.
Nothing. It was,
and I was just like, how did this like even like happen? You know?
I know.
And just bouncing it down out of, and we're talking Serato Scratch Live, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wow.
I know. Well, sometimes it's how it is, right? The most raw, original stuff. Like before you're like, I'm putting compression and limiting and the thing. And obviously some people know how to do it and make it sound dope, eccentric, and Nick Pike and all these guys are like so dialed in, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, your shit sounds, they'll remaster things and it sounds incredible. But for the most part, sometimes the edits sound like crap. It's all flat, you know what I mean? Not for the most part, but like sometimes the people don't know.
To me, it's like you can just tell when like the DIY thing has kind of gone a little too far.
Yeah.
Where things got like overly processed, or like maybe somebody got something like a DIY like MP3 of something, or maybe an acapella, and then they like put that into a session to add it with something else, and then they bounce that down and then compress that into an MP3. Yeah. By that point, it's just like, okay, like
what am I listening to?
Yeah, this is just overly processed, you know?
Yeah.
But
it is cool to see all that like full circle things, you know, like all come to fruition and just keep. That's what it is to be a DJ for this long. I've never been that. You know what I mean? I've never been this age that I have today. You know, so it's like to see things keep progressing like that is like crazy. I definitely was not thinking about 2024. You know, when we were like doing that kind of stuff.
No way. And what's crazy too, I mean, to me, it's just a testament to like you just keep doing what you do, and focusing on like the parts of it that you just love, you know what I mean? And then like, and that timeless thing, like you were saying, as a foundation.
Yeah, and if you get lost, go back to that.
Yes, exactly. Because which we talked about on the last time, on the last podcast.
Right. Yeah, well, because that's timeless. That's timeless thought. You know? Because it's crazy. Like I said, I was with these people this weekend. They're like, "Oh, that was dope. Like we never heard of you. We don't know who you are." And I start telling him my story. I'm like, "Oh yeah, in 2006 I did that." He's like, "I was 3." I'm like, "God damn, that's crazy to hear."
That is wild. You know,
I'm like, "You have a way more full beard than I could ever have," but that's all good, bro.
Yeah, well, and it keeps you young at heart too. You know, just like doing what you love. And
it does.
So
for
sure.
But yeah, exactly. So. What about some more things that you've been working on? Like I mentioned, you know, in the intro, like I know we talked about your kind of vinyl journey, which I'm sure we'll keep talking about, and your Twitch stuff. I'm sure we could talk about forever. And I'd like to know, you know, a bit more, but also I know you do a vinyl party, which plays into all of that. And what's that party called again?
Yeah, so it's called Get Up to Get Down.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah, and it's every fourth Wednesday at Melody Lounge in Chinatown.
Okay, dope.
And it's actually been really cool this summer. Like,
got some cool guests, right?
Yeah, like so I want to, you know, basically make sure to have 2 guests every time, and it's a really fun way to kind of like put a spotlight on people that I think are dope and want to like feature them. And then to get to collaborate with them, like the night of, you know, it's just great. And I'm stoked to have it on a Wednesday because I like for, you know, as many DJs as possible to be able to come through and hang out and just chop it up and like
Wednesdays are good. That's why I try to do my podcast on a Wednesday too, because mostly that's when everyone's around. It doesn't have a thing. You know?
Exactly. It's like, so DJs and music heads, because we're playing, you know, like out of the ordinary type stuff. Like, we're definitely like playing stuff to move the crowd, but we're kind of like, we're not going to give you the obvious, you know, stuff. And the format is like funk, soul, disco, and boogie. Okay. And I kind of purposely kept it like, you know, pretty wide so that people could kind of interpret that, you know, as they see fit. Right. All I tell people is just like all vinyl, funk, soul, disco, boogie. So some people lean a little bit more into the funk. Some people lean a little more into the disco boogie side. But yeah, basically that was like the inspiration kind of came out of the Twitch thing and collaborating more. And of course with the vinyl thing. And then I threw a one-off back in February at Melody Lounge with Bus Crates and DJ Epic, who were like my two favorite guys from Twitch. So a lot of people came out for that, and that kind of, you know, set the wheels in motion of like trying to do a more regular thing. And so, yeah, basically, you know, DJs can come out. It's on a Wednesday. Music heads who want to hear some like out of the ordinary stuff, and then of course the dancers. And we've already been kind of getting more like dancers and people like really dancing than I, you know, had expected. That's which great. I was like really pleasantly surprised by. And Melody Lounge is like it feels like a really central spot where like people can kind of converge from like, you know, different parts of the city because it's right off of the freeway. Okay. And Chinatown's been kind of popping. Like you got General Lee's down the street. Yeah. Grand Star Jazz Club, you know, where they do boombox.
Which has always been a huge place for dope hip hop DJ stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I first kind of got into like Melody Lounge as a space by going to the Milk Crate Mondays nights that the DP Sound guys throw. They had me as a guest there, and I was like, man, this is like a great space, you know? Yeah. And I just like, you know, bring an extra speaker and really just try to get the sound really dialed in and pay attention to all the little extra details. I try to record it every night so I can start keeping like an archive and be able to send people their sets, you know? Yeah. And yeah, it's like so far we had some dope guests. Like we had the one-off with Epic and Bus Crates. Then we had another one-off with Inca One and DJ Jedi. Then we had Steve Dub, Bob Soul, and C-. Amazing. That was the one for my birthday, so that was like an all-out, just like, let's go for it. Dope. And then last month we had Sonny James and, who was the other person? Aaron Parr. Sonny James and Aaron Parr. Dope. I know, I'm just trying to keep track of all these guests. And the next one
Welcome to my life. I'm like talking to people. I'm like, you should come on the podcast. He's like, I was on it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
You're like, oh, my favorite episode.
Yeah.
I actually was thinking about that while we were like, putting this plan together. I was like, oh, I bet Spider kind of, has a similar experience of like, trying to get certain guests and line everything up.
It's hard.
But yeah, so this next one, I'm super excited because we actually just confirmed DJ Omar God from Orange County, who's like a legend. He's like a boogie, like funk boogie legend out of OC.
Dope.
Nasty DJ, like with
Amazing.
Records, like his vinyl sets are ridiculous. So we just confirmed him and DJ Loopy. She's super dope. Another like supreme boogie head. This one is going to be like a boogie heavy edition.
Yeah, I love that. What's the date?
Wednesday, August 28th.
Nice. Oh, yeah, so Wednesday, in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
or
like
a week.
A week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow. Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, it's from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I kind of like carve up the time a little different every time, but for the most part, I've been having it so that each guest kind of plays like their own like hour-long slot, and then we just do like a throwdown, like for the last like couple hours of the night, where we just go 3 for 3, like
that's so dope.
3 records a person. So, dude, it's so much fun, and I mean, talk about just like soaking it up in terms of like the influence that you get from your guests. You know what I mean? Like, and people are just playing the dopest shit. And it's just like all night, everybody's just like, oh, what's that? What's this? What's that? Right. And it's kind of continuing that same, it's in the spirit of that same thing I was talking about with Twitch, where we were just like bugging out. Like,
I love that.
Writing down, oh man, I need that record in my life. You know what I mean? And just like constantly kind of connecting the dots, like, and having these like, ultra nerdy conversations that are just the best. Like, oh, so-and-so produced that, and he played trombone on this record over here. And you know what I mean? Just stuff like that. So yeah, it's awesome, man. Like
that's great.
I'm really stoked to be doing that. And it's fun to kind of step into that space too, additionally, of like throwing your own thing. You know, it was something I kind of played around with over the years, and I had been involved with throwing parties, or I was like the resident DJ at like parties where it would be like a group of friends throwing it, but I hadn't really kind of gone out on a limb to really just like throw my own party. So yeah, it's been like, it's just really fun and in pretty much every aspect. Yeah, it's great.
It's great. Yeah, I do feel like that's like the thing that we talk about a lot of times for DJs, to push them, all the things you're doing, to push themselves to do, throw your own party and do all these things, to not get caught up in like, oh, I'm not getting booked here, I want to do this or that. You know, you just make everything yourself. And that's the way to do it. And that's how you can be the happiest and create your own destiny. You know, you could create your own destiny, brother. It's how it happens right here. Thank you. So that's what I was thinking.
We both just have these alter egos throughout the episode.
That's my glasses guy.
My guy just says baby a lot.
Yeah, baby. You know, it's been cool, baby. You know, the journey.
I hear you. I think that's proper. That's proper good, brother. Proper good. All right, we're back. So
we have to name them. We have to name our guys.
I don't know what my name would be. DJ Spoder. Also the one Twitch thing we didn't sort of mention, I mean, a million Twitch things, but something that's been an advent that since I've even started, haven't recorded a podcast since this happened, is the Twitch DJ program.
Yes.
What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that?
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts? How has it been? I have my own thoughts, but they're very much on the outside. I have not opted in yet. I want to do it. It's inspiring to me. I've been busy lately, as there's basic excuse, that everyone says, but I want to do it and I want to get back in on it. It's like, seems really cool. Like, and I've been researching it and watching it and commenting, but like, what's your experience with the Twitch DJ program? What are your thoughts on it? And where do you see it going?
Yeah. Well, I, funny enough, kind of had a similar experience because I've been really busy again.
Right.
And, in a lot of ways, like 2024 feels like the closest year since the pandemic to like getting back to that.
Totally.
Being out
like
there.
The old ways with the new ways. And
yes.
I'll accept it all.
Yeah. And so I was actually on like a little bit of a Twitch hiatus. I still was trying to get on at least once a week, but with travel and different things going on, there was right around the time that they started talking about how they were going to roll it out.
Yeah.
I just hadn't been streaming quite as much as normal.
Right.
So, to be honest, I was, I had what I would describe as a Bay Area style skepticism.
Hey, I've heard of that.
Which, I've been known for at times, where I was just like, what?
So have people from the Bay Area. That's why they hate us in LA. We love you guys. Come on. Okay, sorry. Yes.
Yes, definitely a one-sided thing in a lot of ways, which I've learned. At this point, I feel like, on a side note, like you were saying at the top of the show, I have some sort of like dual citizenship thing.
You have a dual,
because I've been in LA for so long, and being in LA for so long has influenced me so much with the LA ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm kind of like I got both things going on, but I still can never forget my roots. And yes,
of course,
a healthy amount of skepticism is built into any sort of Bay Area, especially Bay Area DJ.
I get it.
Kind of personality.
That's where the conspiracity theories come from up there. They don't believe it all.
So I was like, okay, what is this all about? Admittedly, I wasn't like doing that much active research at first. Like I was just kind of like passively like seeing, people talking about it and just kind of being like, okay, when I'm ready, like I'll really check out what's going on. But the things that I heard in the beginning, kind of made me like raise an eyebrow a little bit, because it was like, okay, they're going to take some revenue, some of your Twitch revenue, and it's going to go back to the rights holders, which is like, okay, cool, I guess. But there was that. And then the next thing I heard, which really made me go, really? Like, am I going to do this? Is the do not play list.
Right.
Which basically just means that the people that own the rights to certain things are just not willing to like be a part of this thing.
Yeah.
And so I was skeptical. And then one day I just like, as they were starting to roll it all out, especially when they did that whole like 808 day thing where they officially, you know, brought it out. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I need to, you know, kind of really see what's up here. And once I actually kind of started reading more of the fine print, and especially when I looked at the Do Not playlist, I was like, that's not that bad. You know, I kept joking with everybody like, no Steely Dan. Like, what are we going to do? Like, why would anybody willingly sign up to not play Steely Dan? And me and Epic were joking about how like every single set we've ever played on Twitch, or like every vinyl set we've played since Twitch, like there's always at least one Steely Dan record in our crate. You know what I mean? And
all dads are boycotting Twitch because Steely Dan is not allowed.
It's like the fulcrum of like any good vinyl set is like, you know, so I was like, how could we do this? But then, you know, and then I even said something when I was still streaming, like before opting in, like I was kind of like, for those of us that kind of feel like are more into the college radio vibe, you know, like we're just gonna, like, I don't know if we're gonna do this, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I was also partly kind of testing it out to see like, you know, what people in my chat would say. And like some people were kind of like, yeah, you're right. You know, and then other people were like, well, I don't know, like you should check it out. Like it might be a cool opportunity.
Right.
And then a few people kind of reached out to me that were just like, you know, just friends I've made in the Twitch community that were just like, dude, I think you should go for it. Like you have partner status. Like this would be kind of a good time, I think, for you to just be like, hey, yeah, I'm doing it too, because the traction and the visibility is good. And so you know, having considered it, and then I looked at the Do Not playlist, I was like, okay, it's not that bad. And then, you know, you have to look at the big picture, which is they were going to come for us at some point. You know what I mean? Like we've learned this the hard way over and over again with many things. Like I think back on the SoundCloud accounts getting taken down as like the SoundCloud wars. Like remember the SoundCloud wars of the 2010s?
The war of 2010 with SoundCloud versus DJ.
Yeah, so it was like the SoundCloud
DJs lost.
You know what I mean? And it's all having to do with the same fundamental issue.
Well, if you remember the war of 2020 Instagram versus DJs.
Yes, which is how we all ended up on Twitch in the first place,
That's why we're there.
Yeah.
No one's on Instagram anymore. You know, D-Nice is, and maybe a couple people that are doing it, but for the most part, that's why you're all on Twitch.
Right.
You were all going to get pulled down is kind of how I'm looking at it. You
and
know?
It's like, so when you look at that big picture and you're like, given the different possibilities of what could occur, this is a win. Like to be able to do this legitimately. And I think that, you know, some people embraced it wholeheartedly right out the gate. Yeah. Some people were a little more skeptical like me and were kind of waiting to see like what's up, you know?
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, the fact that it's just like legitimate AF, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, like you don't have to look over your shoulder. Like, you know, no one's coming for us. Like we can actually do this. And we are being like boosted and promoted on the platform. What's not to like about that, you know?
Exactly.
So then I just said,
and it can change, right?
Yeah.
Like the Do Not playlist can change. It's not like it was etched in stone. It's like the 12 commandments of never playing. It's like they could be like, oh, okay, David Bowie's now on the Do playlist. You know what I mean? Like, and the other thing I've seen people getting so upset about is like, I would sign up, but you can't play exclusives and things before they come out. I'm like, is that really a huge part of your playing things? Like you need to play these exclusives right before they came out on Twitch. You're really making tons of money off your fans seeing that. Like, and I was saying even like, it's like playing in a venue. You play in venues where the owner hates a certain artist or a certain kind of music or doesn't want a certain genre, and you get paid to play in there and you don't do it. And then you go play it at your next gig. Like, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? If I'm doing Electric Feels, I'm not playing, I don't know, Mo Bamba, Ace, you know, or whatever, like some hip hop song because it just doesn't fit in right. You know what I mean? But I'm not upset about it.
Or like if Jay-Z walks into the club that you're DJing at, like don't play any Jay-Z. Or do the opposite.
Or
play
do
all
it.
Jay-Z.
Exactly. Yeah.
all or
Depends
nothing.
Who it is.
All or nothing.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know, I mean, there's definitely still a certain amount of red tape. And there's still, you know, there's still plenty of like healthy questions being asked by the DJ community. And I think only time will tell with certain things.
Yeah.
Like, and the way they've presented it to us, they're like, you know, the first year is on us for like the revenue thing. So it's kind of like, well, what are you gonna do? I heard, and I've basically just been sort of like talking to different folks and in different like forums and chats with the Twitch community, and what I've heard is that as of September 1st is basically when they'll kind of start coming for the people that haven't opted in. Like, hey, we noticed that you're a DJ and you're playing tons of like copyrighted stuff. Like, now's your chance to opt in or like be gone.
Got it. Okay, that's interesting.
So, which is like definitely a bit of a shakedown. However, playing devil's advocate, it's like, what else could they possibly do?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
especially to try to make this legitimate. I mean, we're doing a podcast that is brought to you by Beat Source. You know what I mean? And that's a similar world. You know what I mean? There's DJ pools. The DJ pools grew and turned into things that became popular that the labels had to come for and make deals with. Beat Source came out of a thing to create legal streaming. People want, no, man, I want every single song ever on every single DJ pool. Like, okay, sorry, it's not going to always happen. You can sign up for this thing called Beat Source that will have the streaming things with the edits, with the intros, with the acapella outs. Like, not everything is 1000% perfect, just like you want in your life. Like, but things are getting better, and it's possible. And so, in the same way that industry is doing that, this industry is doing that, and in the same way that digital music has kind of cranked forward in the slowest possible way on earth, where like Napster and all these things, where like no one wants to do anything. They're fighting, like clawing to try to make it not happen, but finally streaming happened and MP3s and all the things, and slowly but surely now people make money off streaming, and a lot of people hate it and some people like it, and it's all happening. And DJs create community. DJs want to be able to DJ in real life and also on the internet, which is now real life. We used to be like, dude, Twitter's not real life. Like, or you post on the internet, that's not real life. And you're like, now it is. You know what I mean? Like, the whole world is looking at real life through the internet now. So we'd love to DJ in real life. And for you to be able to legally build, like how Jazzy Jeff says, like, be the owner of your own club and build your own whole thing on there. I think that's actually smart and good. And to see people like Grandmaster Flash doing it is pretty dope, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the dude that started in his kitchen before all of you and like created the crossfader and all this stuff. And now he's doing it on Twitch. Like, and he seems happy and he's doing it. Like, it should show that you can find your place in it, is my thought on it. I don't know 100%, but hearing your take and all that, it kind of seems like,
the one thing that I think remains to be seen is like, getting flagged, basically.
Well, so how are they going to enforce it? So like, we don't know yet.
How's that going to work?
That's the other thing. It's so much dumb fighting online of like, no, this sucks. It sucks. Well, nothing's happened yet. So let's see how they enforce it. Exactly. I know it's like technically something, but they haven't enforced the stuff. We got to see that. And also like, I forgot what I was going to say, the other thing. But like, like how are they going to enforce it? Oh, and how are they going to track the plays? Like, can you not quick mix anymore? Like, if you play 10 songs an hour, are you going to, and then next year when you have to pay, are you going to have to pay more if you play 50 songs an hour versus 10 songs an hour?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, wild. Are you going to quick mix less because you're like, damn, I'm going to let this whole Michael Jackson song play. I don't know if he's on Do Not Playlist, but I'm going to let this whole Steely Dan song play. No, this whole song play because I don't want to have to pay to play 5 songs in a row. Like, is that really going to be a thing? Or will it be a blanket license where it's like, listen, you're paying this small percentage of your thing that's barely noticeable. That's like a 5% fee on your thing. And if you make $10,000 a month and you're paying 5% on that, yes, that's a lot of money, but you just made $10,000 a month, And if you're making $10 a month, you pay 5% on that. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
So
I think right now there's more questions than there are answers.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's like what you can control versus what you can't.
Right.
And it's like, we can't control necessarily like the rollout of all this.
Yeah.
We're kind of in a position where it's like, okay, well, there's increased legitimate, like, visibility and then boosting us. Why not?
And look at all the people that got in early on YouTube, Vine, Twitter, Instagram, every single site ever made in the world. They all did pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to get in on the beginning of something is never really a bad thing.
Yeah.
I don't think, like that's always been like, oh, well, they got in early. It's like, okay, well, now's your chance.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
So I got to talking to myself here, but,
it can
listen, bro, you need to get on Twitch, partner, opt into the DJ program.
That's right, baby.
Hey, brother, you got to get in on there and you're going to really just be one of the pioneers of the Twitch DJ program.
That's right, baby. Life is actuality, and you just have to maximize your potential and possibilities within the transfixing of, what is the potential for the outcomes for, tomorrow and yesterday.
That's a morsel for the morsers right there. I can't believe it. Thank you. All right. So exactly. That's what I think we need to do.
I can't believe it. Thank you.
Thank you, my people out there for listening. Shout to Shabuzi.
I can't believe it. Thank you.
Give me a double shot of whiskey. We out here. Okay. So this is turning into South Park. What else do we talk about? No. So, lots of good insight. So other things you've been doing, I want to hit on, and then there was all these other funny DJ topics we've been talking about. I don't want to make the show go on too long, but I know I've noticed that you do a show. You had this mixtape called Fusion Batches back in the day. Super dope. It was, critically acclaimed by DJs like Jazzy Jeff and people from around the world.
Thank you.
Thank you for making Fusion Batches. I'm not putting my glasses on for this voice. But I see you do something on NTS Radio, which is, you got to be super cool to be on there, obviously. And I'm not cool enough, but you are. And what goes on that show?
Yeah, so that kind of just fell in my lap. It was really amazing, and that was yet another thing that came out of the whole Twitch thing because those mixes, I self-released those back in 2006 and 2009 respectively.
Okay. Yeah,
and they were literally like mix CDs, which then eventually I converted to MP3s or whatever to be able to put on SoundCloud, and so they've just kind of like past their physical life, they had like lived online.
Right.
But I hadn't really put anything else out quite like that out there, even though I was still kind of collecting those kind of records and stuff. But, a lot of that stuff was kind of collecting dust, just like in my home. And here comes Twitch. And it's like, we're playing all kinds of vinyl sets. We're playing funk, soul, disco boogie. We're playing hip hop sets. We're doing that. We're digging through all of our stuff. And then I started doing like Fusion Batches style sets as like one-offs on Twitch. And then it occurred to me, I was like, why don't I complete the trilogy of the mixes? Because I had part 1 and part 2, and I'm sitting there during the pandemic. I'm like, this is the perfect time to kind of go back in and do the ultimate like part 3 version. So I did. I like went to work on part 3 and I finished it, and then I just had it, and I just self-released it online. And it was pretty cool, like even right away, because kind of like people were coming out of the woodwork, like people that were big fans of those mixes that, had like, I had correspondence with like years ago, just like on SoundCloud, like asking me for like track IDs and stuff, because those mixes also came from the era of like, don't put the track list, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so people hitting me up for track IDs, and then so people were coming out of the woodwork like, oh my God, like part 3 Fusion Batches, so which was really gratifying. And I was like, this is great. So, I put it out. I was like super stoked on it.
Great.
And then shout out to Spinurita, who also has a show on NTS Radio.
Nice.
She hit me up and she was like, did you see this? And it was like an NTS Radio thing where they were like, looking for a few new hosts for some shows, and they like mentioned specific genres, and they were like jazz fusion, like as one of the like niche kind of genres they were looking for. She was like, this has your name written all over it.
Straight up.
And then the ultimate like testament to the fact that it was a good idea to make that third volume of the mix was that when I went to fill out the application on the NTS site, it was like, please put 3 examples.
Oh my God.
Of like what you would
Fusion
do.
Batches, volume 1, 2, and 3.
Exactly. I was like part 1, 2, and 3. Boom.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it was like it was exactly what was required, of me in that moment of like,
dope.
Please put 3 examples. I was like, this is insane how like perfect this is. So boom, I just had the links ready to go, part 1, 2, and 3.
That's great.
And then they initially got back to me like, okay, we're into this. We'd like to invite you to come do a guest show, like a guest appearance. And then kind of based on how that goes, then we'll decide if we want to give you an ongoing show. So it was definitely like a bit of a process.
Yeah.
And it like, admittedly, I didn't know a ton about NTS at that point. It was just kind of like your funny thing that you were saying. I was like, they're just super cool, but like, I didn't really know that much about them. But it turns out that like they've been around for a while, based out of the UK.
Right.
And
that's something to do with Giles Peterson or no?
That's Worldwide FM.
I know that. For some reason, I thought maybe they had some sort of interlocking thing, but no, I could be totally wrong.
I'm sure in the past.
Worldwide, super dope too.
Yeah. I'm sure that at some point in the past, the like founders of NTS and Giles were all kind of in the mix together.
Or they hate each other
because it was like a UK.
They do a break battle. They do a DJ ray gun. Or not DJ.
Oh my God.
They do a kangaroo ray gun battle.
Don't get me started.
Let's go. Australian breakers, shout.
Dude, that shit was so funny, bro. Like I couldn't.
What? I mean, look, we're not here to pick on people. We're not bullying. We're not just piling on. But it is like we've been in battles. You were in the 3-style. You've been in battles. We come from battle cultures. We come from hip hop. Breaking is from hip hop. I'm sorry to break it to the rest of the world. No pun intended. Breaking's from hip hop. You're putting yourself on a world stage to see if you're the best person in a competition. You're going to get criticized somewhat. It's not a bullying thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially if you're doing insane things that people they're all doing in their house by themselves too. You know what I mean?
You should definitely be here for Halloween.
How many people are going to be here for Halloween?
There's going to be a lot.
That's a great idea.
I've already been hearing. Like I'm in a group chat where somebody was like, I'm calling it. Like I reserve it. It's me.
Ooh.
And I was like, dang.
You carry around the cardboard and just pop it down and then do that move. Like
Did you see when Rachel Dratch came out on The Tonight Show? It was incredible. The other thing that was so crazy is we were at a friend's house and they were like, did you see this shit? And it was like on that Sunday when everybody kind of first started talking about it. And we were like, me and Ivy were just like, our jaws dropped and we were like, oh my God. And we were just like dead. And then
me too. I saw it like right when it happened, and I was like showing my wife. I was like, "This is look at this." I go, "It's gonna go nuts. The whole world's gonna go crazy on this."
So then we were just like flabbergasted, and and I was like, "This is insane." And then I called it right then and there. I was like, Ivy goes, Amy Poehler, and I was like, "Ooh, Rachel Dratch." I literally said her name. I was like, Rachel Dratch, and then a few nights later, Rachel Dratch came out on The Tonight Show. Like Jimmy Fallon's like, we have B-Girl Reagan here. It was Rachel Dratch. And it was amazing. So here's the disclaimer. I get what everybody's saying about, focus on the good part. And
yes,
we were watching, some of the like amazing other like competitions in it. And it was great to see. And there was like, obviously like so much talent and it was amazing spotlight on the culture of breakdancing. So not taking anything away from that.
Yes. Love it.
But wow. Just like her moves, dude. Unbelievable.
What did they think was gonna happen?
Oh man.
Like
it was surreal. Like it was very surreal, like watching this person who essentially was doing like interpretive dance.
If you've seen
on the Olympic stage.
If there's one dance on the planet Earth that people use to make people laugh, it's the sprinkler. If you're putting that in your thing, you know what's going to happen if you're busting a sprinkler. And then if you pretend to be a kangaroo and you're from Australia, you can't get better than that. Yeah. Then the whole laying on the ground with putting your body like a scissor.
That
and
part
then
was so insane.
Like a lot of the things, I mean,
and then the yawning at her like opponent or whatever, but yeah, I don't know.
So it was incredible.
I heard someone say like they should have not necessarily done the whole battling thing, even though it's like essential to the culture.
Well,
maybe they should have done more like showcase.
That's the thing. I had nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Showcase.
And shout to the DJs that were part of it.
Yeah.
They're super dope.
Yeah.
And the music licensing that went into it, I heard it was insane. It was one of the most expensive events, they said, because they had to license 390 songs.
Which also kind of ties back into what we were just talking about too,
Yeah.
Where it's just like, for something to actually be possible to happen within the realm of all the like copyrights and all that crazy
But also
stuff.
like how do you judge dancing in the Olympics? And then I know the gymnasts have it, but the gymnasts do one at a time and they focus on like these flips and all these crazy things. Like there was no like, it wasn't explained to the crowd like what are we looking for?
Yeah,
even though I watched breaking, you know, like yeah, like what are we looking for? Like even they explain in the diving, like they're doing a jackknife double twist back. Oh, they had a little splash there. And you're like, all right, they had a little splash. But like on this one, I didn't even know. And I watch it. Yeah. Like, what am I judging on? I can tell if they're good or not.
And it was confusing too, because they were like already saying while it was happening, like this will not happen in the 2028 Olympics. And it's like, wait,
I know.
what?
I was already like trying to manifest, let me DJ this, and now it's not even happening.
Like,
what the hell?
But that was confusing also because they were like, why are they saying as
because I guess
happening?
it's almost like there's things in the Olympics that are like electives in school. Like in every country gets to vote on it. And so in 2023, they already voted on the ones. So like the ones in LA, it's going to be cricket, squash, flag football. They already named them. So it's like that wasn't in the Paris. So here they're going to have flag football, cricket, squash,
wow,
baseball.
You really know your stuff.
I mean, my son wants to be a pro athlete. That's all I do is watch sport
cricket,
things.
Squash.
We got cricket. Listen, brother, we got cricket, squash, baseball, softball, flag football. I don't know the other two, but they're coming through.
Hey, I love cricket, baby.
LA Olympics.
Baby, I love cricket, baby.
I got no fucking idea what they're doing in that cricket shit, baby. But it's the biggest sport.
Hey, shout out to squash and cricket, baby.
They're sort of related, I think. No, I heard cricket's like... I'm straight back to myself. I heard cricket's the biggest sport in the whole world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I know soccer kind of is, but like cricket, like I watched like the team that won and they had a parade and there was like 1 million people.
I think B-Girl Raygon was actually wearing a cricket jersey.
Are you serious?
I think so.
Oh, my God.
From what I've been able to gather.
Well, yeah. So 2028 Olympics, LA, represent, we here.
But yeah, we are very much in the era of like the participation trophy. So I think what makes the discourse surrounding this pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Is that you have to draw a line at some point.
Exactly.
You
just
can't
because
just
she
be
had
like,
a PhD and she respected the culture.
You can't just be like, yay, you did it.
Right.
You know, like you deserve props no matter what. It's like, no.
And I don't want her to feel bad about herself and kill herself or do anything bad.
It's not like you don't want to just like.
But you also should know the truth about what just happened in your life. You know what I mean?
Like you have to draw a line somewhere.
Like it's like people go and get a caricature drawing of themselves. They look at it. You shouldn't kill yourself. You're getting made fun of. You realize how big your nose might look to people or something. It's funny. Laugh at it and go on with your life. Okay?
Right.
You just got a caricature thing. Like you saw how crazy that was, you know?
Oh my God.
But it's
how could anybody look at that and not just be like, what?
Yeah, I could laugh at myself. You know what I mean? I have bad nights DJing. I have bad things happen to me. You know, like
no, you can't take yourself too seriously. But then also, like, you're in the Olympics.
You're in the Olympics.
So, anyways, what were we talking about?
NTS Radio.
So NTS Radio,
your show. So you tried out. You had the fusion batches.
So then they had the one-off. Like we're gonna offer
that part together.
We're gonna offer you a guest show,
right? And
then we'll decide after that if we want to give you an ongoing show. So then they came back and they said, congratulations, you now have an ongoing show, like a monthly show.
Okay.
And then we hit the ground running. I got to give major props to my boo, DJ Ivy, because she does all the graphic design.
Oh,
each
props
month.
to DJ Ivy.
Yes, love you. So I'll kind of dig through my records and I'll look for inspiration. For her to kind of like
dope, love that.
Yeah, to kind of
because I saw your artwork for it. I'm like, this is super dope.
Yeah.
So
sometimes it's like a direct reference to something when I kind of want to put a spotlight on something, and then sometimes it's more of just like inspired by a few different things. And
how do you? Sorry, I've not listened. But I will. But do you host it and say like, coming up next, we got this guy.
So you
don't do a mix.
Well, basically, the fact that it was yet another thing that kind of came out of Twitch, made it so that I was like, okay, on Twitch there's so much like interaction. I mean, I still try to talk not that much on Twitch, I try to like let the music
fine
breathe.
line.
But
you need to shout out every bit.
People are talking to you in the chat, so it's like you're saying what's up. You're just casually interacting with people. With this, I was like, this feels way more like also with paying tribute to the original mixes. This really feels like something where I really want to like put a spotlight on this music. I want to do very little talking. So I'll do a little introduction at the top of the show and a little outro at the end of the show.
So is it a mix?
That's it.
And then you mix the songs together, or you play them somewhat mixed?
Sometimes. Yeah, I mean, it's a mix.
If it's
a mix because
tastefully,
it's a mix because that's also in the spirit of the original mixes.
Yes. Okay.
So,
got it.
Although compared to the original mixes, I would say one of the differences is like letting certain things breathe a little more. And then also with that music, like the time signatures of like some of these songs are like so crazy.
Course, yeah.
So it's like, and we'll fade that one out.
Exactly. You're better off waiting to that.
Yeah. And I use my little, sound effects and things that I used on the original mixes too, with the like fusion,
dope. All right, I gotta pop it.
So it's kind of just like it's like a natural continuation of that same thing. But yeah, it's been like an awesome, outlet to have to be able because, as DJs, we have what, I refer to them as chambers, like Wu-Tang style. We have our different chambers, and like it's awesome to be able to now have this platform that's like set up to tap into that chamber.
Yes.
And be able to like really, get back into wholeheartedly like digging for that stuff and having that just be like this, this dedicated aspect chamber of like,
I like that. I don't know what a metaphor. I like that way to describe it. The chambers. Sometimes I'm like, people are like, "Oh, you're a DJ. What kind of music do you play?"
Oh my god!
And I'm like,
that's my least favorite question in the world.
Oh my god! And I'm like, picture a pie chart.
Yeah.
I have a lot of different parts of this. You know what I mean? But really, I have the 36 chambers. Is what I have. You know what I mean?
It's like it's the hardest thing to explain, and then the other one that I can't stand is when people are like, what have you been listening to lately?
Oh my god!
And you're just
what is your favorite thing to play?
Yeah.
I'm like, at this point, I like a challenge. I love DJing. I have so much fun. Like,
it's impossible to answer any of those questions in a short, succinct way.
And sometimes I question myself. I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But like, because then also someone was saying to me, see, it just sucks the passion and fun out of it, right? And I was like, no, I actually had the greatest weekend last week. Like, I went to Denver and played Electric Feels and played all indie rock and indie dance to like young kids who wanted to hear every song. And I had a completely different set, had to use a microphone a lot. I was almost like my own cover band of these songs. Yeah. Then went the next night to Aspen to like a club where it's super open format and they want me to play everything from like Rage Against the Machine to Jay-Z to ABBA to like old school hip hop to like new stuff, and like to Chris Lake, tech house, like all over the place. So I have to learn new and old. Then the next day I fly to LA and I do an event for HBO where it's all the nominees and it's like Conan O'Brien made a song and Nikki Glazer and then the theme song of Hacks and then like Curb Your Enthusiasm and I'm trying to mix in all these songs and at my own event set I'm playing Chapel Roan and new songs and old songs.
Why am I imagining a scenario where like we're at a venue together, but I don't have my laptop, and you're like, just play off of mine, and I like look at yours,
you're
and
like,
I'm
holy shit.
I'm like,
But exactly, that's 3. Then that night I go to Vegas and I do marquee night swim, and they want like 80% new hip hop mixed with EDM, and it's like within those 4 gigs, within 3 days, my brain was a tornado of insanity.
What are you holding on here? Like multiple terabytes?
4 terabytes.
Yeah, that sounds about right for lot. Like what you're describing.
But I mean, but at the same time, I had a good time. It's exhausting, but like I had a good time. I loved it. It was so much fun.
As long as I've known you, you've been like one of the best DJs I can think of in many regards. But when it comes to getting after it in terms of like getting what you need and being organized.
Yeah, like I'll try to.
I've always been really impressed with your ability to do that. Like you will just go and just like get what you need and then I'll hear you playing and I'm just like, this is like, what is this? Like
I don't, and sometimes I didn't even know what it was till the night before, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to find a way to.
I think I DM'd you like when you posted on your story or something like, whoa, what was that blend? You're like, I don't know. I'm like, that was sick. You're like, yeah.
Well, it's the age of 2024 is the age of either like, do it or not, and just let's lean into it and have a good time.
Dude,
everything's
last
to be
night,
different.
Like on my Twitch stream last night, I spent about 2 or 3 hours because I hadn't done a big digital like download sweep in a while. And I sat there and I just like was going crazy. Like I must have downloaded like, I don't know, 200 songs or something like that. And just like threw them onto my Serato and was just like listening to things for like 2 seconds and like putting them in a crate here and putting them in a crate there. And then I went to go start streaming and I was like, that's like half the fun sometimes with the Twitch streams is like hearing stuff that you downloaded, like basically hearing it for the first time as you're playing it. Totally. And then I'll get people constantly in my chat will be like, what's this? And I'll be like, I don't know. Let's find out together. And I'll go like this and I'll look over at what it is and I'll just type it into the chat. Right. And it'll just be like something like crazy edit. Right. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like totally. And people are like, where can I get more stuff from them? I'm like, I don't know. Like same. Sometimes I know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, here's their Bandcamp. And then other times I'm just like, I don't know.
No, I'll do that at the spot I play in LA. I did it on Thursday. Like I downloaded so much new shit. And then for the first hour, it wasn't that packed. There were still people there, and I was like, I had done the 2-second listen on each song, and then I tried to play as many of them as possible, and it was like, these are dope. This is the people asking me. I'm like, this came out tonight. You know what I mean? It's like New Music Friday, but it's 10 p.m. and it's Thursday night. Like I just downloaded it. Like it's like fun to do. I think I put on Threads the other night. Like I was like, how many of you download a million new songs, put them in a crate to play that night, and then never play it? Me too. You know what I mean? Because
you're having
I'm threading out
some big traction on Threads.
Threading out, thanks to my Thread followers, my Threadsters. All my what's up, Threadsters? Thanks for tuning in. I've been loving your feedback on there.
Hey, listen, baby, I want all the Morsers out there to follow my man DJ Spider on Threads, baby.
That's right.
Because he's just putting it down, baby.
You're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna hate me. You're gonna love me.
He's doing what we call. For all my Morsers out there, he's practicing Morsery, but he's doing it in his own spider-like fashion, over there on Threads, baby.
It's the truth.
Lock in, tap in,
Tap in. Truthfully, tap in. Just tap it. You feel
tap on your phone. Just kind of feel your phone with your finger, like a thread. Like feel the thread with your finger on your phone, and then tap in, and just tap it. Just lightly tap it,
thread, like
and then
you're sewing like your grandma.
And next thing you know, it's a whole movement, baby.
Feel it.
We out here.
Peace. So I've been threading out. I've been I promise you all listeners, I think I need to dedicate one episode where I'm all by myself in here telling all these ridiculous stories because I haven't done a podcast where I've told all the shit that's happened to me in the past couple months. From like I went to Europe and all this stuff happened. I did this show with Travis Barker and all these crazy things happened. I lost my AirPods in Vegas and told an insane story about it. And that was my big thread moment where Jesus Christ, all these people.
That was amazing.
What the hell? So I still haven't got them back yet. Well, hopefully by Labor Day weekend, I'll get them back in
Summer
hand.
2024, we back out here.
But and then I posted other things, which then led to us talking about, the toxicity and because how we talked about, we used to be on AM's, management company, and the DJ world was a different time. It was the beginning of bottle service clubs and different people were in charge. And
lore.
There was
bottle service lore.
Yeah. And there was more like
chapter 1
toxicity, in the world, like you said. Yeah. And there was more, there wasn't as much accountability in the sense that people could just like rip you off stage or just, just crazy shit would go down, you know?
Yep.
And,
so when we were
people don't get that now,
Yeah. And so when we were getting ready to do this, that was partly when I was like, oh, what's Spider been up to? I mean, I've been following along with, your Instagram and stuff, but then I was like, whoa, he's like, his Threads is like popping and all this stuff. So then I started reading it and I was like, oh, the getting pulled off. Yes.
Well, because I just had a thought. I was like, have you ever been pulled off during your DJ set before you were... I said, have you ever been pulled off during your DJ set before your set was supposed to end? Also, full disclaimer, I didn't realize that pulled off in the UK and Australia means a completely different thing. So I was hit with a lot of, hey, I want to get pulled off during my set. I'm like, I didn't know what that meant. I mean, that's literally hilarious. Physically pulled off the stage, not something under the booth. But so that was a learning experience from that to my UK fam. But then I said I have been pulled off in Miami, New York City, Vegas, a few other places throughout my career. I'll tell you something, that's not the best feeling. It's part of the game. I'm still alive and I'm still doing it.
You know, hearing that from you especially, I really liked how you framed that.
Thank you.
Because it's actually at the end of the day, like it's like inspirational.
Well, so that was my thought process on it. Was like, look, I want to know your story. This is something I could talk about on the podcast. It's something we can discuss on Threads. And this is almost what this site is built for. I will also give you my experience and show that someone that some of you look at as like, oh, he's doing all these things. This has happened to me, guys, in the major markets. And also, you know what? I'm still here doing it. I still have a career. New things happen to me every week still. It should be inspirational. Instead, of course, half the people wrote, oh, sounds like you suck. You know what I mean? And like things like that. There's all these like troll people that are like, oh, that's never happened to me. Obviously, you're the worst in the world. I'm like, okay, thank you. Obviously, you're not reading the comments. But people like Jazzy Jeff and these amazing people wrote back and all agreed and all had stories. And I ended up getting 150 replies of stories that were funny, inspirational, and showed that, yes, and some people wrote, it's not part of the game. It's disrespectful. You're right. It's not part of the game, and it's not part of the game in this day and age, and it is disrespectful, but comedians bomb and get pulled off. You know, DJs bomb and get pulled off.
Yes.
Actors bomb and get fired off a movie. All kinds of things happen.
It's about resilience.
Exactly. And it what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You learn from the experience. Of course it feels horrible, but some of the greatest DJs were in the comments and wrote the things that they experienced and learned from it. And I think that was all I was trying to show, is that you guys, we're all here still doing it. You're not going to die. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't die, just don't die. You know what I mean? And it's going to be okay, you know? And so that's the thing I was just trying to get across. Things don't always come across on the internet the correct way and with text. And
well, you're definitely fighting the good fight on Threads, and which is like partly what I was noticing, because there's like this whole thing started about like unsolicited DJ advice, right? On Threads, where people were kind of
that was what sparked it for me. I thought I can give an inspirational DJ thing where I'm not trying to be gimmicky. I'm not trying to give you advice. I'm trying to show you that things happen.
I like how you approach that.
That was my literal thought of writing that out. I was like, and so I was like,
I just saw some like things where it just made me roll my eyes and like want to throw my phone across the room.
Of course, me too.
But you know, I like how you took it upon yourself. You were like, I don't see this as just like throw my phone away. I see this as like a call to arms. Like I can help provide a balance to all of this trash. You know?
That's what I thought. You know what I mean? In a way,
it's noble. I like it.
Why not? You know, and that's what we can turn this into. And even I got the ultimate thread advice DJ hater, Nick Bike, gave me a authentic response, which means a lot, because he hates all the DJ advice. I wasn't giving advice, but he even told a story and said how it was a rough, brutal experience, and he got stronger and came back from it, you know? And so we've all, and DJ Jazzy Jeff had an amazing one, you know? And it's like a lot of us that have been around have been through it, you know? And it sucks, and probably I should dedicate an episode to just reading out these responses one time, you know what I mean? And like, some of them were incredible. But yeah, it's like, you know, it's like we were saying, there was a different sort of toxicity, a different sort of power. Like my first Vegas residency, it sounds fake. The person that owned the club or that ran the club, he would pull a DJ out by their neck, like a strangulation move. You know what I mean? Like I saw crazy things. I mean, this person might be in jail at this moment. Pretty sure they are. Like there was those types of things were happening, you know, like
the vibe now, I feel like with the way things are now, it's like people, if anything, people will just smile and be like, okay. And it's like, they won't have you back. Like if they're not into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Then a bad email circulates and you don't come back.
Which is like, you know, professional. Like that's fine. You know,
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That's the way it should have.
But back then it was scream in your face, pull you out by your neck. Wild. Who knows what's going to happen?
Oh my God. I think it was actually legitimately kind of became a trend at a certain point.
Well, because it all came from the top, because the top person would be that psycho that was screaming at the people. So the people below him wanted to impress the top psycho. So they'd be a psycho.
Top psycho.
And then they'd become their top psycho above you, and they'd be psycho to you. And you're like, I'm just the DJ, bro. Yeah. I'm drinking a shot of tequila and playing Windows to the Walls. Yeah. Like, chill out, you know? Yeah. Like, you want me to play Beyonce? Tell me. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I remember you even back then, like, you gave me some really, like, sage advice. Because you saw that I was kind of being thrown into these rooms where I was maybe a little bit, like, overwhelmed. And you were like, you would benefit by trying to have thicker skin a little bit, because I would really take things to heart. Yeah. And I think obviously now, like we've been talking about, it's not as much of a thing, but I think the key in those situations is to, like, you can't believe all of this, like, insane stuff that these people are like barking at you.
Yes.
Because that's the tricky part is, like, I had to learn over time how to kind of, like, have thicker skin and not internalize these things, because
it's so hard.
Somebody would just come in and be like, I'm sorry, we're not into this. And, like, I don't know what you think you're doing, but, like, you're out of here. And also, like, that was the worst set I've ever heard, or, like, whatever. And you're just like you just leave, and then you're just like, I'm the worst. Like, yeah. It's like, you have to, like, learn how to, like, rise above it. So,
I know.
And fortunately, it's not as much of a thing. Yeah. But there literally was an era. There was like you said, that whole
where it was a norm.
The top psycho trickle down. There was an era where, like, I swear to God, it was like a trend of, like, the club, like the way that clubs would perceive each other. Like, that club's not popping unless there's an angry guy running around yelling at everybody.
Exactly.
At all times of night.
There has to be.
Including the DJ.
Yes.
It at times, most importantly, the DJ. Which is partly why I, at a certain point, started actively walking away from like some of those kind of rooms and clubs, because I was just like, this is insane. There's not one shred of, like, why I started doing this in that situation.
Yes.
And why would I subject myself to that? You could not put a price on that.
I know.
Like, I don't care how much you're paying me. Like, this is unacceptable. And, I'm glad I did, because it was like saving my own soul, really.
I mean, it goes back to the legendary Mike B quote, I'm not the idiot that booked me. Like, he had it.
I saw him that night. Like, and I knew the club he was playing. I knew the person he was working for. We were talking on text, and we all met up at an after hours.
Right.
And he walked in, and he was, like, boiling. And I was like, oh my God, like, tell me everything. And he told me the story that night. And I was amazing. Just like, he vowed then and there, like, I will not play those kind of things ever again.
I know. And he never did.
And he never did.
I know.
He really influenced me in that regard as well. Because from that time on, like, I would take certain things here and there, but I was way more in the mindset of, like, go where you're valued, know? So, like, my goodness, what a insane era that was, with the screaming, the screaming top psychos.
I know. And, I'm still in this world, and I still experience things a lot that people would not believe, I think, because people wrote me today, like, some guy wrote me, literally, there would never be a time when a club owner would yell at someone if the club was packed and people were dancing. Like, guys trying to call me out on my lie. And I'm like, literally, I didn't write them back because I'm not going to respond to the troll people, but, like, literally, that is when they do it and what they do. They want to control it. They're going to yell at you at the time for the thing. It's like, it's the craziest thing ever. Yeah. I've had things happen recently like that, not pulling me off, but definitely, like, where I was like, wait, what?
You're one of the best I've ever seen at, like, rolling with the punches. And then
I've gotten better at it. It took me 20 years of, like, trying to be like zen out. It's still effect. It's hard.
You know how to roll with the punches. And then, like, I really liked that other story you told about deciding to leave.
Right.
Because
that's what sparked when I did this. I thought about the other side of it. And so I was like, you know what? What if I write one on people pulling themselves? Not to the UK, Australian people, obviously, but pulling themselves off stage.
Yeah. Well, my main takeaway from that, knowing you, you know, and having been friends with you for so long, it's like for you,
oh my God,
to get to that point.
Well, one of my best,
really something.
Yeah, one of my best friends that's known me since I was like 10 years old wrote me, "I know that story's fake, bro." And I go, "No, I never told it to you, but that is not fake." And you know, for me,
I never like got to that point in any situation. I was pulled a handful of times. But I never like actively decided to like pull the plug and walk out.
No, that was a crazy time.
So like, you know, for you to be the person that actually did that is pretty wild because you're one of the most like even keel, like roll with the punches type people. I don't know
what happened, but it was just like
that person must have been horrendous.
I got pushed to the limit.
That person, that must have just been the most horrendous person, like a situation.
It was
for you to be the one that's like, you know what? I don't need this, and just leave.
I couldn't believe I did it, but it was just like I was pushed to the ultimate limit. Like, yeah. It was one of those like. I feel like there's also like elements of like racism and stuff within some of these things, and sometimes that's the thing that will push me over because I've had one or two other times where I almost left, and mostly it had to do with racism things in those other experiences too, and. I feel like this...
With regards to, like, the music you were playing and...
Yeah, and the way they were talking about everything, and it just made me feel like you have to teach this person a lesson, you know? And so it felt like this thing had started in the morning, like when I got picked up from the airport, because the person picked me up and said some certain things in the car that felt a little bit like they were leaning towards a racist sort of comments. I don't know, you know what I mean? And... like about talking about the music and the music I should be playing and only playing top 40 and this and that. And so I was like, okay. And so I like really sat in the hotel room and worked on my set and tried to like make sure that the top 40 set was going to be right. But I mean, there is hip hop within top 40 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I remember being in the club and playing it and looking down at this crowd. I mean, it's full top front to back. Everybody's throwing their hands up, having fun. And the person coming over, I thought I fucking told you to play top 40. Like just talking to me like in a crazy way, like where I was like, no one's ever talked to me like this, like in my face, like as if I'm just like a piece of straight up shit, you know what I mean? And I just kept being like, I'm doing what you said. I'm playing like Jason Derulo. Like, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but it's really on the top 40 tip. Like I'm working my hardest to like execute your vision. It seems like it's working. Everyone's dancing. Everyone's having fun. Why are you screaming at me? You know, and I'd heard later from these people that this person is just notorious for screaming at everyone at all times, is who they are. They treat everyone like a piece of garbage.
Sounds great.
You know,
they sound
and
great.
I had heard that also a bit before and after, and it just kept going and going. And I kept saying, you don't need to talk to me like this, you know, and oh, say whatever I want, da da da. Like you know, I thought I told you to do this. I thought that, you know. And this person, it was the kind of booking where they had sought me out on my website through the contact form, written me a form. I put it through to my agent. My agent booked the gig. Everything was on like the up and up. I didn't reach out like, hey, let me get a chance. Like, they flew me there. They put me in a hotel. They put me in the thing. You know what you're dealing with. You could have listened to my mixes. You could have watched videos, seen it all. And so it was just like kept going. And I kept thinking like, what happens if you just stop the whole club in the middle? Like what can they do? You know what I mean? And so I was like, what if I just do it? You know? And then like she kept going and going. And I was like, you know what? I go, you sought me out. You booked me.
Yeah.
I don't need this shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, boom. Just like pulled USB, pure silence. Like the opener dude was like, oh. And it was like, she's like, I'll sue you. Like screaming at me and like turning red and like da da da. And then I was like, boom, boom, boom. Pack up my stuff as fast as possible. And then like I put my bag in and I just started, I'd walk down these stairs. I remember I walked out and then like there was no music for a minute. Everyone's doing that like boo.
Hey, Spider, you a savage, baby.
Everyone's booing, like, what's happening, you know? And I was like, oh, peace out. And like, I leave. And then the opener, like, I hear the other DJ like put back on music, you know, because obviously something had to happen. And then they were fine after that. And like, and then I'm texting my agent, like, did we ever get paid for that gig? And they were like, yeah, we got all the money. I was like, yes. And I was like, okay, cool. And I'm thinking like, you might get a thing about getting sued. They're like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I like explained what happened. Then they showed me like the next day, like the craziest email ever, you know, and like so mad. But
good for you.
And then I went back to the hotel, and I remember there was a few other DJs
back to the
there.
hotel.
You know. Exactly.
Sipping purple chungas.
Yes. So we go back to the hotel. We're in this like courtyard. I'm with a couple of the other DJs that were with me, and they're like, I can't believe you did that. And I'm like, I can't believe I did that either. Oh my God, my like adrenaline's going. And like, I never want to do anything like that. I don't recommend anyone doing that. I don't encourage it. But it just felt like the thing to do. It felt like the right thing to do. And I did it. And, you know, and like, sometimes you just go through with a thing and you deal with the consequences. Obviously, I don't work with this person ever. I've never talked to them or seen them. They didn't sue me, but I haven't worked with them again. I think they're still a club owner and a working person, and they still have clubs and successful places that they own. And I'm still doing my things and successful in my own right. So that's how life goes.
Well, again, it just speaks volumes to like how horrendous that person or situation must have been for you, of all people, to be the one that actually did that. But because that's crazy.
Crazy.
You're the most even keel. Like,
but I mean,
DJ,
reading like on threads, like people that wrote these stories after, it was unbelievable, some of the stories I read, and they're absolutely hilarious. Like, I need to go through and just read some of them out because maybe on another episode, but I was like
nightlife, baby. You know, nightlife.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, brother.
It's wild out here. Wild out here.
That's what you do, and you know it.
Your guy's like Chuck Norris somehow.
Yeah. My guy's, you know, no Hulk Hogan affiliation, but he loves saying brother. So does Kendrick Lamar. So we're in this.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' stories. I'd love to, hopefully that inspired you, maybe not to do something stupid, but to know that you should stand your ground and keep your integrity and do what you think needs to be done. Not necessarily walking out of a club, but saying yes and no to the things you want to say yes and no to, and being true to what you think you should be doing in the DJ world. And that's what I hope you get out of that.
Yeah, man. You're leading the noble charge on threads. Good for you.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, you know, don't want to make this episode too long. So I will dedicate, maybe I'll do an episode all by myself on the next one where I will talk about some of the thread things I wrote about being pulled off stage, about pulling yourself off stage, about all types of things. And I want to tell some stories about my summer. I had a crazy summer with gigs, and I got to do a gig with Travis Barker, kind of how like AM and him did the Fix Your Face thing. I got to do a thing in Lollapalooza weekend with me and him, which was like really dope. Like,
I mean, I think you've earned the right to do a solo podcast if you so choose.
I think I might do it.
It's funny. It makes me think about like throwing your own party and always having guests. And then I told myself I'm going to wait at least a year to be
the headliner,
to do one solo one. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I do need to do that, or just have like a round table of a couple homies where it's like, yo, let me tell you these stories, you know, and then people can tell their stories, but it's not all about just like interviewing the guests. Cause like, you know, I want to respect the time of Morse Code and learn about Morse Code and hear about you. You know what I mean? And everyone else should too. And that's why like I need to have some shit where I'm like, yo, I'm going to tell you guys what just happened.
Well, also, I love riffing with you, dude.
Like, for sure.
We've known each other for so long.
Like I said, yes, you're hilarious. You know, I love your personality. I love hanging with you and like all that.
Back at you, brother.
Back at you, bro. So, yeah, I mean, is there anything else we should hit on, or
I think we pretty much covered it,
man.
Get
up out of here, baby.
It's been a great summer, and
yes,
you know, I think we pretty much like covered it all. And
I agree.
It's been great to be on. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, you know, for everyone listening that doesn't follow you, you can find him at DJ Morse Code, Twitch. You look for that 10K following. That's the right guy. And then on everything, you're that, right?
Yeah. At DJ Morse Code on everything.
You find him there. Look for his shows. Like you said, we didn't really get into it, but he does teach DJing at Point Blank Music School. So if you really want to learn from one of the best, this is your guy. And yeah, I mean, if you really want to delve into the old school Morse Code, go to the first episode. But we were in the middle of a pandemic, so I feel like this is more of a fitting time to represent the 2024 version of both of us. And I'm so glad we got to sit down and do this. So much fun.
Me too.
Thank you for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Let's go eat some food.
Let's do it.
All right. It's the DJ Spider Podcast presented by Beat Source. Thank you to the Beat Sorcerers, what are they called? Morcerers. You know,
the Morsery, baby.
The more they practicing Morsery out there. Thank you for listening. Thank you, brothers and sisters, and everybody out there. And we'll see you next week. Peace out.
Peace, baby.